All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race 1, we'll see Harry Volsmir and David Gorman on the front row. Mike Marshall and Adam Barker on the second row. Roman Berg and Hans Gustafsson on the third row. Everybody getting on the grid. They are ready to go this morning. A lot of this field cheering the league on from Daytona. Hans Gustafsson did not take to the grid. Will he start from pit road? He was sitting on pit road a moment ago as the pace car goes in. Out of the final turn, Harry fires. They are away. Green flag is in the air at Jerez. Hans is on his way off pit road as Harry jumps out to an early lead over Gorman. Adam Barker, Mike Marshall, Roman Berg, all right there together. Hans is out on track. Harry in the Porsche already has a big lead on the field, 1.5 seconds. That long straightaway, though, could be a problem for him throughout the morning, as the Porsche is known for not having a lot of straight line speed. Gorman in second, Adam Barker currently in third, Mike Marshall in fourth. Roman Berg losing a little ground, back in fifth. Through these very tight turns, Harry Volsmir is pulling away in the Porsche, clips the dirt. And Harry will lead lap 1. He has a 2-second lead on Gorman at the moment. Hans Gustafsson back behind, had a bit of an off track on the first lap. Hans was gaining ground on the cars ahead, but looks like that off track has been a setback. Gorman, Barker, and Marshall still right there together. Adam Barker starting to look a little low. Trying to have that run for second place. Mike Marshall lost a little ground on that lap. Into the chicane. And that is definitely where the Porsche is strongest. The very tight turns here. And that chicane has allowed Harry to pull out even further. Now an almost 3-second lead. Garmin and Barker battling for second. Mike Marshall losing a little bit of ground as Roman Berg is starting to reel him back in. Gustafson still running back in 6th. He was gaining ground on the cars ahead, but has now dropped back to a 15-second gap behind Roman. Harry continuing to pull away in the Porsche as the Corvette and Audi battle behind. Adam all over Gourmets' back bumper. That Corvette does have a little bit of a power advantage on the Audi. But it does appear that Audi turns a little bit better. Harry Volsmeer set the fastest lap. Last time by, his lead almost 4 seconds now. Harry is checking out. Mike Marshall back in 4th, did gain a little ground on Barker on the last lap. He has started to pull back away from Roman Berg. Roman, remember earlier on, was gaining ground on Mike. Hans Gustafsson had another off track and another setback. Back through the chicane. Adam Barker sits in 3rd, and since this is our first time here, let's ride along for a lap with Barker. You see Garmin just ahead as they cross the start-finish line. Up the hill into turn 1. A lot of elevation change in this race. Downhill right-hander right to Garmin's bumper. And very quickly into the left-hander and picking up some speed. Slight uphill into an uphill right-hand turn. Easing back onto the power, onto the long straightaway. Downhill at first, then flattens out as they come into the right-hander. A very sharp right-hand turn. Back on the power, then into the left-hander. Short straight into another left-hand turn. Garmin takes it a little wider. The Audi able to hold that apex a little bit better. Then into the right-hander. Garmin throwing some debris at Barker as they go off into the chicane. Corvette powering out of it. Down the left-hander, you see the pit road entry there. That'll come into play in race 2. And then out of the final turn in the drag race, back to the start-finish line. Adam did that lap in a 1:42.48, his fastest lap so far. However, out front, Harry Volsmeer, his fastest lap is a 1:41.68. Last time by, 1:41.87. That Porsche definitely dominating here this morning. That Porsche, as we've talked about all season long, does these slower turns, and the sharper turns definitely is the fastest way around. May not be the fastest through the high-speed turns or on the straights. Definitely does not have the same straight line speed as some of the other cars, but the straights here may be short enough that it just doesn't matter. Garmin still holding on to second. Barker on his bumper in third. Mike Marshall back in fourth. Roman Berg in fifth. Hans Gustafsson, after starting on pit road, in sixth. However, as they run now, Hans will be on the pole for race 2. Have to wonder if the downhill at the first part of this straightaway is helping that Porsche with the straight line speed this morning. Garmin and Barker still the closest battle on track at the moment. Looking to be one of Garmin's best runs of the season. Garmin missed the first 2 races of the season. Came in and had a decent run at Long Beach. A rough week at Daytona last week. But definitely off to a great start this morning. Oh, Barker way wide into the dirty sideways. Just a little tap into the fence. Marshall goes by. Holy cow. Talk about a setback. Looking down from the blimp, coming out of that chicane. Right behind Garmin, just goes a bit wide into the sand. And just a bit of a love tap into the fence. Looks like he might have cut the apex on that in the middle of the chicane a little too much. Just got a huge run out. No damage to the Audi. Meanwhile, out front, Harry's lead now almost 8 seconds. Harry is definitely checked out. Garmin now in second, has a lot of breathing room around him. Mike Marshall currently runs in third. It's currently a Corvette, second and third. Barker now in fourth, about 6 seconds back. And this could be Mike Marshall's first podium of the season. Eakin, yeah, I think we've got a few of them. Adam Barker literally just finished his final stint and then hopped over. We had enough time to interview him as he got out of the car at Daytona, then he hopped in the car here. Sounds like Gustafson probably in the same situation. Definitely been a rough start for Gustafson. He's back in 6th place. He did start from pit road, but has had a few off tracks so far this morning. I've noticed both of the drivers we know have completed the 24 hours. Both of them having a bit of off track trouble here, likely just exhaustion. I do know last time I ran an endurance race, I was exhausted for days afterwards. Obviously, my situation being a bit different, but I do know a lot of these drivers get out of the car at Daytona, they're exhausted, their sleep schedule is off, and it takes a while just to get themselves back to normal. Eakin, you're definitely right. 2 hours of sleep does not help. So you got to give them credit for getting out here and being back in the fight this morning. Gustafson and Roman Burke both going to have big mornings in the points this morning, as a lot of the 24-hour drivers not here. Avery Walker not here, Simon Zierk, Andrew Lau, Mike Dolling, Nick Sorensen, as we saw right before the race, is still in the car at Daytona. The Conliff Esports team should be finishing here in about 5 minutes. We do expect an update from the team, but we do expect they will come home in 2nd place. Their best ever 24-hour finish. Garmy had an off track a moment ago, and it has allowed Mike Marshall to close the gap. Less than 5 seconds, but with 3 minutes left to go. I don't think Marshall will be able to run Garmin down. Harry Volsmere, meanwhile, has a 12.7 second lead. He is dominated from the drop of the green. He is the only driver that has gotten under the 142 mark this morning. Just one heck of a race. That Porsche is on fire. With the invert, he'll have to come through traffic and race too, but the speed he's got this morning, likely going to see him pull off the sweep here today. It's been a while since Harry's been in victory lane. Great to see him having another great run. Adam Barker is still closing in on third place. Mike Marshall, but 4 1/4 seconds back. Harry out of the final turn, should see the white flag. White flag is in the air. One more time around for Harry, and he's looking like he's going back to victory lane. It is great to see Harry back on top after a rough start to the season. David Garman currently rolling in second. Mike Marshall is chopping away at Garman's lead, but still 3.7 seconds back with just half a lap to go. Marshall needs Garmy to make a big mistake here. Adam Barker back and forth. Romanberg in fifth. Gustafson in sixth. And as of now, Gustafson will have the pole for race 2. Folks, don't forget to tune in tonight, 7:30 Eastern. We've got more racing to come. Out of the chicane, Harry Volsmere heads to the final turn. Hard left-hand turn, back on the throttle, and Harry Volsmere is back in victory lane at the Jerez. David Garman comes out of the turn to come home in second. And Mike Marshall will be back on the podium this morning in third. Let's talk to our top 3, starting with Mike Marshall. Mike, congratulations. You're back on the podium. It's been a bit.
It has been a while. I chalk it up to clean living and eating kale.
I call BS on that because I know better.
Yeah, I was 3 beers in and 3 whiskeys in with hot wings watching my Washington Commanders last night. So apparently the key to winning is be hungover.
Apparently so. I'm going to try that in the future. But, man, a great race. More importantly, a very clean race for you. Kept it out of trouble and kept it pointed the right way.
Yeah, that's surprising. I think it's all the hungoverness.
Well, we have seen you be a lot more consistent and a lot fewer problems this season. A great run this morning. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks a lot.
Mike Marshall comes home in third. David Garman coming home in second. Garmy, see what driving a Chevy does for you, buddy. Looks like Garmy has stepped away for a moment. We'll try and get a word with him again. Let's talk to our winner, Harry Volsmere. Harry, it's been a bit, but congratulations. You're back in victory lane.
Hey, Doug is here. I didn't know you were here.
I am here. I am everywhere.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
It was a great run, and I have to say, you consistently had the fastest laps all morning. You were the only driver under the 142 mark, and you did it lap after lap. That Porsche just looks super fast this morning.
Yeah, well, there wasn't any pressure, so You can't go too slow because then you make mistakes. You have to push it a little bit. But we'll see the next race what happens.
Well, man, I gotta say, it was one heck of a run. Great to see you back in victory lane, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Harry Volsmere back in victory lane. We'll try and get hold of Garmy one more time. Garmin, you there? Okay, apparently no Garmy. We'll try and get a word with him later. As a few drivers coming out practicing their pit stops at pit road entry on the left side. I'm surprised we're not seeing more drivers out. That pit road entry could be a little bit tricky coming into the final turn, especially with most of these drivers having never driven here. And got to give a shout out to Adam Barker, Hans Gustafsson, and anybody else in the field that drove the 24 hours of Daytona, then hops in another GT3 car here at a fairly new track most of these drivers have never run at, and still coming home with a great finish today. Running a 24-hour race like many of these drivers do is not just a physical exhaustion, but it's a mental exhaustion. You're constantly doing calculations. Your team is always there to help you, but you're constantly stressed, constantly thinking, and it is mentally exhausting as much as physically exhausting. Just over a minute left to go in warm-up. Doesn't look like any of the other drivers are coming out. We'll try one more time to get a hold of Garmin. Hey, Garmy, it's Doug. You got me?
What up, Mr. Doug?
Well, see what driving a Chevy does for you, buddy?
See what happens when there's only 6 of us?
Man, still a great run. You had a ton of speed. Adam all over your bumper, but couldn't do anything with you.
Yeah, he had me on the first half of the track. He was just destroying me in time, and then, I don't know, I guess either I got the Corvette figured out, or he was struggling with the back half of the track, but that's where I would make my gains on him. So we were about even when you consider it all put together, but that is a fun race, considering I don't have a whole lot of practice, and I don't even think I've been on this track before, so...
I think that is the case for most of this field, it being one of the newer tracks. Not many of the drivers have been out here, but a great job, and you come home back on the podium. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. And yeah, now we get to start further back and see how many we can pass.
Good luck, buddy.
See it.
Warm-up comes to a close. Let's go racing. Top the entire field will invert here. All right, folks, here we go. Race number 2. We'll see Hans Gustafsson and Roman Berg on the front row. Adam Barker, Mike Marshall in the second row. David Garman and Harry Volsmere round out the field for race 2. Hopefully Gustafsson will take to the grid this time. And he does not take to the grid. And it does not look like he has gone to pit road. We know he's tired. Has he called it a day? All right, folks, here we go. The Porsche pace car dives to pit road. Adam Barker will be in control as they come out of the final turn. And here they go. They are away. Green flag is in the air. Harry already on the attack, side by side with Garmin. Adam Barker at the front. Mike Marshall shoots into second. Roman's around in turn one, or in turn two. Harry already up to third. Garmy into fourth. Roman slips back to fifth. Onto the straightaway. This is where Adam struggled in the first race. Will Marshall be able to run him down? Harry already up to Mike's back bumper. Harry managing to keep the Porsche in the slipstream. Garmin right behind, hoping for an opportunity. He's lost a little ground here in the first lap. Harry gets a run out of the turn, looks to the inside, into the chicane. Harry nailed a second. Mike Marshall now in third, Garmin back in fourth. But through the final turn, it does appear Adam Barker will lead the first lap. And let's take a quick look at that incident on lap one. There's Roman in the McLaren. In that second turn, just hard on the brakes. And it sends him around. He does recover, but lost a lot of ground. Adam out front with a 1.1 second lead over Harry. Harry is starting to chip away, especially through the turns. Adam is going to have to take advantage on the straightaways to keep Harry behind. Mike Marshall now in third, has Garmy on the bumper as they battle Roman Berg, who's now 11.5 seconds back. But with them starting to battle at the front, he'll have an opportunity to run them in. Harry lost a little ground on that last lap. Garmin now 1.9, or I'm sorry, Barker now 1.9, almost 2 seconds ahead. Barker just set the fastest lap of 142.29. However, as we saw in race one, Harry can consistently run lap times in the 141 range. Meanwhile, the two Corvettes doing battle back behind. Mike Marshall in third, David Garmin in fourth. Harry currently about 1.7 seconds back. But he does seem to gain a lot of ground in the turns as we've got a battle for third. Garmin on the attack. Garmin couldn't get it done on that one. Garmin has a problem coming out of the turn. He slows down. What in the world? Garmin almost came to a stop and is now almost 2 seconds behind Mike Marshall. I don't believe he had a slowdown. Very odd situation back behind as Harry is reeling in. The leader is now 1.3 seconds back. Garmin 1.7 seconds behind Mike Marshall. Two separate battles playing out here with 3.5 seconds between them. As Mike currently 3.5 seconds behind. Second place, Harry Volschmier. Harry just set the fastest lap, 141.92. 0.3 of a second faster than Barker's fastest. And he's now less than 1.25 seconds behind Adam. Garmin still holding about 1.7 seconds behind Mike Marshall. But Harry has definitely cranked it up to 11. He is on maximum attack. With the tight turns here, you have to wonder, will they take tires? They do have to make a fuel stop at some point during the race. Will there be tire changes this morning? And Harry set the fastest lap again, 141.78, and he is right back to Adam's bumper. Garmin is starting to close in on Marshall now, 1.5 seconds back. As we have a battle for the lead up at the front, a battle for third taking place behind. Roman Berg now 14 seconds back after that early incident. He has chipped away a little bit at the gap though. Through the chicane, you see the Porsche able to take the turns a little bit tighter. Harry carried a little bit more momentum out of the turn. Back behind, Garmin continues to close in on Mike, now 1.1 seconds back. As Harry is now haunting the back bumper of Adam Barker. Adam a little bit of an off track there, throwing some dust up on Harry. Garmin still chipping away at Mike Marshall as well, back behind. Adam Barker will lead this time by. But again, Harry just right there with him as Gorman is caught right back up to Mike Marshall. Both drivers in the Corvette, so that will bring it down to who's the faster driver. Definitely going to be quite a battle between these two. Harry lost a little ground. Is now about a second behind, but already reeling Barker back in. Has definitely been a lot of back and forth so far this morning. Harry has run down Adam a couple of times only to lose ground. We saw Garmin reel in Mike Marshall a few laps ago, then suddenly almost stop on track. Now he is running back down. Harry currently 1 1/4 seconds behind Barker. Oh, a little wide there for Garmin. Garmin looks like he has taken the final turn a little bit wider with a later apex. That allows him to pull right to Mike Marshall's bumper. Oh, Garmy looks down to the inside, but had to check up. He almost had him. Harry still trying to reel Adam Barker back in as the battle is on for third. Garmin trying to go around the outside. Drag race down the hill. It's a dead even into the next turn. Marshall has the advantage. Garmin tries to cut over. That cut did not work. Garmin lost a little ground. Meanwhile, Harry had an off track a moment ago. He has lost a lot of ground. There's Harry closing back up on Barker. Oh, he gets a little loose mid-turn. Just shoots way off into the dirt. Big setback, but he'll likely come back from that one. Meanwhile, the battle for third heating back up. Garmin still right behind Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall having got his first podium of the season this morning. Can he pull off the sweep and put it on the podium 2 times in a row today? Harry now 3.1 seconds behind leader Adam Barker. Adam's lead is starting to shrink, though. Harry now 2.7 seconds back, as Gorman has caught back up to Mike. Romanberg back in 5th, has lost some more ground. He is now 22.7 seconds behind. Harry still reeling in. The leader now just 2.2 seconds back. And Garmin staying within striking distance of Mike Marshall. Garmin using every bit of the track here, trying to build that little bit of momentum he needs to take third. Garmin still just half a second back on Marshall. Harry continuing to reel in Adam Barker. Surprisingly, Harry's laps just not as consistent as what we saw in the first race. Also appears to not have the same speed. Whoa, Garmy way wide. That new debris model, that going wide, is going to throw some dirt on the track, and that debris also affecting tires and grip. Does not appear though. Oh, Mike Marshall went wide through the turn. Garmin gets by on the outside. Can he make the move? Side by side once again coming out of the turn, and Garmin now to third place. Let's take a look at that one. Watch this, looking down from the blimp. Mike Marshall just goes a little too wide. Garmin gets the run, but now is on the outside going into the next turn. Marshall gets back ahead, but Garmin has the advantage on the exit and shoots out ahead. Meanwhile, Harry Volsmere has suddenly lost more ground. He is now 3 1/4 seconds behind Barker. Adam now with a 3 1/4 second lead over Harry. Harry now 13.9 seconds ahead of Garmin in third. Mike Marshall in fourth, still right there with Garmin. Mike trying to stay in his slipstream and on his bumper, waiting for a mistake. Mike having got his first podium of the season this morning in race 1. Hoping to do it again here in race 2. But that section of track, Gorman is a little faster. That final turn, though, Mike Marshall has been faster. He is now just 6/10 behind Gorman. Meanwhile, Adam out front is holding about a 3-second gap on Harry. Gorman in third, trying to hold Mike Marshall off. Marshall actually set his fastest lap so far this morning, last time by. These two appear to be fairly even on track. It might be a battle to the end. Harry still about 3 1/4 seconds back in second. Ooh, overshot entry into the chicane and lost a lot of ground. Losing almost a second to Barker. He is now 4.1, 4.2 seconds back. That was a sector of the track where Harry has been the fastest all morning. That loss of ground there could be catastrophic. Mike Marshall still on Gourmets' bumper. As we approach the halfway point, pit strategy will come into play. Will the drivers be taking tires? And at what point do they come to pit road? Mike starting to peak on Gorman. These two drivers definitely have had equal pace all morning, but they have different sectors of the track where one is better than the other. It's definitely kept things interesting between the two of them. Harry now 4 1/4 seconds behind Adam as Adam crosses the start-finish line. Harry still has the fastest lap of the morning and the only driver under the 142 mark. If he can find that pace yet again, he will reel in Barker very quickly. Mike Marshall has reclaimed third. There they are, headed toward the first turn. Marshall goes to the high side. Gorman was slow on the front stretch. Did he get a slowdown out of that final turn? Looks like between these two, it may come down to who makes the fewest mistakes here. Harry back in second, 4.3 seconds out of the lead, and Harry's bringing it to pit road. He'll be the first one in. Adam Barker stays out. Will this be a tire stop? Harry, that slow pit road as he hits his stall. The car is up. He will get tires. Gorman also in. Likely to see both of the Corvettes take tires. Those cars just a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. No, it does not look like Gourmet is going to take tires. It'll be a fuel-only stop. And now what will a pit strategy do here? Adam Barker out front. Mike Marshall now in second. Harry back off pit road in third. Roman Berg now in fourth. Garmin on his way out in fifth. Harry took tires and still had a faster stop than Garmin without. Now the question is, does Barker? No, Barker is not coming in yet. Barker, Mike Marshall, and Roman Berg, the only three who have not pitted. Roman had a great start to this race. Was picking up spots, then an incident sent him around. Looked like Roman was going to be up competing in the top three, but that one setback has put him way behind. Mike Marshall continuing to stay out. Harry now back in third, Roman in fourth, Garmin in fifth. Harry now on fresh tires, though we may see his lap times drop. We'll look as he comes across the start-finish line next time. If he drops back into the 141s, he'll likely be able to run Barker down after Barker's pit stop. Now will Adam bring it in this time? Nope, he's going to continue to stay out. Mike Marshall coming through that chicane, headed toward the final turn, waiting to see if he'll bring it in. And Marshall will continue to stay out. Harry Volsmeer in third is closing the gap on Mike Marshall at the moment. And let's see if Harry's lap times are back down. Not his fastest lap as Roman Berg comes to pit road. Not Harry's fastest lap, but definitely a couple of tenths faster than the leader. Roman bringing his car to pit road. We know he'll get fuel. Will he take tires? The car is up. Roman Berg getting tires. This will bring it down to Adam Barker and Mike Marshall's pit stops. Could be the big deciding factor of this race. Mike coming back through the chicane. Less than 20 minutes to go in race 2. Mike definitely looking for another podium this morning as he continues to stay out. Harry back in third after his pit stop, but trying to lay down some extremely fast laps on those fresh rubber. Wow, Harry actually slower that time by 143.06. Adam Barker continues to set a consistent pace, 142.37. He's been in the 0.3 and 0.4 range consistently. With Harry having that slower lap, it does open that gap as he comes in. The leader is on pit road. Will he take tires? Mike Marshall headed toward the final chicane. He is the last one to come to pit road. Barker hits his stall. He is taking tires. And Mike Marshall is going to stay out. Mike Marshall goes to the lead for the first time today. Adam Barker in second now has a 7.6 second gap on Harry. Adam has a couple lap fresher tires, about 4 laps. Mike Marshall out front has still not completed his stop. It is great to see Mike having an awesome run this morning with a podium in race 1. Oh, Barker going a little bit wide once again. Expect to see Mike in this time. Podium in race 1, leading here in race 2. And Mike makes a hard left. He is coming in. Remember, Gourmets did not take tires. They were in a close battle between each other before the pit stops. Can Mike take tires, make up a little ground, and keep Gourmets in the mirror? No tires. No tires for Mike Marshall. The 2 Corvettes did not take tires. That's a bit of a surprise. And Mike Marshall on his way out in third. David Gourmets coming down the front stretch in fourth. After the cycle of pit stops has completed, Adam Barker's lead now 6.5 seconds over Harry Volsmeer. But Harry has just turned in a 141.85. Harry appears to have found that speed he had in race 1 once again. Mike Marshall in third, 3.8 seconds ahead of David Gorman in fourth, but Gorman is reeling him in. Harry also appears to be reeling in Adam Barker. Harry about a tenth of a second faster that time by than the leader. He is not back down into the 141s at the moment, but he is closing in. Don't forget, folks, tonight, 7:30 Eastern, BRR Cup Racing is back, immediately followed by the SMRX Series. A lot of great racing ahead tonight. Make sure you're following on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. A lot of YouTube shorts coming out. Harry now losing ground to Adam. He is 7 seconds back. We'll check the lap times. Gorman has had a problem behind. There is Gorman coming through that right-hander, and the back end just steps out. Sends him off into the grass. He does get it recovered, but he was charging up to third and now loses all that momentum. And Gorman has brought it to pit road. Last time by, Adam Barker ran a 142.23. Harry, 142.64. Gorman has completed his stop and is back out. But now back in fourth, almost 30 seconds behind Mike Marshall. And a great run this morning for Marshall. If he can hold on to third, that'll be 2 podiums in a row this morning. Adam Barker's lead 7 seconds over Harry. Harry had all the speed when he dominated race 1, but just cannot seem to find that same pace here in race 2. Mike Marshall back in third, now with a 28, almost 29 second lead over fourth place Gorman. Roman Berg has been quietly running back in fifth, has had a couple of off tracks, and that big setback early on in the race Now 25.25 seconds behind Garmin. All the pit stops have been completed. And most of the field with significant gaps. It's going to take a big mistake to change up the running order as it is. Mike Marshall had a bit of an off track a moment ago, allowed Garmin to make up almost 2 seconds, but he is still almost 27 seconds behind. Adam continues to put down consistent 142.3, 142.4 second laps. And unfortunately, Harry just not able to find that same speed he had that allowed him to dominate race 1. With just a few laps left to go for Barker, consistency is the most important. And you gotta hand it to him. After completing the 24 hours of Daytona, hopping out of the car in Daytona, hopping into the car here at the Jerez, 2 different cars. And that Conliff Esports team coming home with the 2nd place finish at Daytona. Adams' lead now 7.3 seconds and holding. Mike Marshall now has 25.5 seconds on Garmin. Garmin running consistently faster laps at the moment. Almost a second a lap faster, but after that spin, it has set him too far back to close the gap unless Mike Marshall makes a huge mistake late in this one. Same situation up at the front. Adam has a 7.8 second lead. Over Harry Volsmeer. However, it does look like Harry will come home with the win in race 1. And a 2nd place finish in race 2. A huge points morning for Harry. Harry was back 20th in points coming into the morning. He's now going to make a huge jump, as is David Gorman. Roman Berg will even pick up some positions here as well. Adam will likely be in lap traffic before the race is over. Roman Berg just ahead. Adam may see the white flag next time by. And Adam has extended his lead over Harry, now almost 8.5 seconds. Mike Marshall has extended his gap on Garmin, now almost 29 seconds. Mike definitely on a tear today. Adam coming through the chicane this time. Likely, as I mentioned, we could see the white flag this time by. It'll be close. They may get one more lap. Oh, the white flag flies one more time around for Adam Barker. He has an 8.3 second gap on Harry. Mike Marshall running in third with a 28.5 second gap on David Gorman. Mike Marshall having his best morning of the season. Barker coming up on the lap car of Roman Berg. Harry Volsmir closed the gap that time by, now 7.7 seconds back, but too far back to get it done on the final lap. Adam Barker comes out of the chicane, passing the lap car. He heads toward the final turn. One final left-hand turn, and out of the final turn, Adam Barker will come home with the win in race 2 at the Jerez. Harry coming home in second. Mike Marshall back behind, looking like third place is gonna be locked up. Mike heads toward that final left-hand turn, and he will pull off 2 podiums this morning. His best finish of the season, 3rd in both races. Let's talk to our top 3. Mike, congratulations. 2 podiums this morning, your best morning of the season.
Yeah, I'm really shocked. And now I need to go drink a beer and watch more football.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. You certainly earned it this morning. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Doug. I'll talk to you soon.
Harry Volsmere coming home in 2nd. Harry back on the podium in 2nd, but it just seemed like you didn't have the same pace you did in race 1.
No, I started okay, but then I lost some grip somehow, and then Adam drove away. So that's about it.
Well, still another great morning. You had one heck of a fast car, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
And finally, our winner, Adam Barker. Adam, you get out of the car at Daytona, into the car at Jerez, and still come home with a win here. You've got to be happy and exhausted.
Yes, both of those. I am ready for a lie down.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah, it's a good race. Starting from the from P1 because his hands couldn't do the first. I could only do the first race. Sorry. So I could control the start. Got a nice jump and was just waiting for Harry to come past me, but he just seemed to burn those tires out a little bit too much. And I was just trying to keep the car under control. It was really slidey into turn 1, and I was just trying to control the rear there. And then in sector 3, the car was just a little bit awkward going over the bump. So it was an interesting race trying to balance the car, but good result at the end.
Well, congratulations. Go get some rest, buddy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you guys so much for being here. We will see you tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Have a great day, everybody.